Welcome to the Serenity channel. I'm your guide, Julie Navarro. Today we're going to be meditating on the very basic ideas of mindfulness meditation. What it is, where it developed, what people use it for, when to use it, and when to avoid using it, why it helps us, and finally, some common misconceptions about meditation. Let's begin with talking about what mindfulness meditation is. Very simply, mindfulness meditation is the act of focusing your mind on something. This something could be anything. A sound, something in nature, a sensation you like your breath or your heartbeat, the taste of a food, or the smell of a scented candle, perhaps. The most common thing to focus on is your breathing, and this is simply because it is always with you, so it is the most convenient. However, when starting to learn meditation, focusing on the breath can cause some people distress. I know it did for me at first. For those who experience this, try focusing on any one of the 5 senses of your choice: sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing. Choose one thing within the realm of that sensory experience and focus on that. For instance, perhaps you hear a bird singing outside your bedroom window. This might be a pleasant sound for you to focus on. Once you find your focal point, sit or lie quietly and draw your full care and attention to this object. The idea with meditation is to become aware of the busyness of the mind, to recognize it when it happens, and then to gently and compassionately discipline your mind to return to your focal point of choice. Be aware going into meditation that everyone's mind wanders. It's not just yours. When it wanders, it simply means you are human. Meditation could be compared to physical exercise. You are slowly and methodically building the strength and endurance, or the mental muscle, to remain focused for increasing periods of time on something. Release notions of punishing yourself for imperfection. Allow yourself to learn slowly, over time, how to train, discipline, and observe your mind. And as you do this, it's a really great idea to keep a journal, to write down the little things that you begin to notice about you as you take this intimate voyage into yourself. This is a time for you to give yourself compassion, love, attention, and care. This is a time to discover who you really are. So make sure to set aside time specifically for you to meditate. Leave the cell phone off, let someone else take care of the kids, and meditate when you are fully awake and don't have to be anywhere. I've heard that there is a misconception about meditation that has been around quite a while now. While mindfulness meditation is simply the focusing of the mind on something, this concept, which developed more in Eastern cultures that are rather foreign to Westerners, is difficult to differentiate from the Western concept of getting things done. We misperceive that we are always focusing on something. People conflate doing with focusing, and furthermore, Western culture has valued productivity so highly, especially since the industrial age, that we have forgotten our very human need to rest. Another misconception combines this valuing of productivity above all else and an axiom that has been handed down through many generations of Westerners. That is, idle hands are the devil's playthings. Taking these two concepts together, some well-meaning, highly anxious people have imagined that sitting in meditation is to invite evil things into the mind. Nothing could be further from the truth. Should evil things somehow come your way in the moment of meditation, you would, by the very definition of what meditation is, be far more attentive and better able to deal with an attack rather than vulnerable to one. When our minds are at ease, focused, and serene, we handle all of life better than when we are under stress. Meditation developed a very long time ago, around 5,000 to 3,500 BCE in India. It is often associated with religion, Buddhism, and sometimes yoga. However, the discipline of meditation is simply a means to an end, not the end itself. Think of it as a tool you can use highly adaptively, like a Swiss Army knife for mental well-being. Those who developed it were driven by a desire to find relief from their suffering, just as we too use it today for the same reason. Because meditation's motivation is a human condition we all share, that is, suffering, it is a practice that we can do together as well as alone. It is said that the environment created when people come together to focus their minds in meditation is very powerful and soothing. Nevertheless, the serenity of one meditative person can be very strong and generate an enormous amount of well-being in the individual. One of the reasons for this is that as humans, we have a tendency to generate lots of physical energy, doing all of the time. This doing state of mind draws our attention and energies continuously away from our core self, where we most desperately need it for our well-being. Then one day, our core self has enough of neglect and abuse, and it retaliates. Illness, negative feelings, disagreements with others, or dissatisfaction in relationships erupt. A whole host of suffering often stems simply from us not paying attention to or being mindful of our core self and its needs. Mindfulness, then, is a well-developed method for answering our authentic selves' needs. The needs to regenerate, rest, feel at ease, calm, and serene. Of course, life will require us again and again, and our nervous systems will amp up for the call when it does. Mindfulness, though, is always accessible the moment we realize our system has had enough. It's only a breath away. A few cautions, though. Meditation can be very relaxing, so it should not be done when a beginning practitioner's full attention is required for other things, like operating a vehicle or caring for the young or the elderly. A seasoned practitioner may be able to slip in a few meditative breaths to cause serenity to return amidst chaos, but this shouldn't be attempted when you are first learning. Not so much a caution as much as retrospection. Meditation works best when you're fully awake, and not so well when you are exhausted. I've lost count of the number of times I've jolted myself upright on my cushion after having fallen asleep. This is no surprise. Meditation calms the mind, and if your mind is calm and exhausted, sleep happens. I'm not advising completely against late night meditations, because sometimes, honestly, it's the only way I can fall asleep. It's simply that if you want to get the full benefit of stress relief, you will want to do it when you're fully awake. Finally, a word of caution to anyone who has been subjected to trauma. Meditation heightens your awareness about many things, including things inside of you that may have been previously buried and you are unaware of them. If you have suffered trauma, I recommend you only practice meditation after consulting with a doctor or therapist about it, and possibly along with a friend who can help reassure you if disturbing emotions arise. Mindfulness meditation, in summary, is an adaptive tool that begins with disciplining the mind to focus on something. We can choose the things that we focus on, and in doing so, we're also choosing to move our minds away from life stressors for a measured amount of time, to give the mind and body time to rest, reset, and recharge so that we can go be all that we can be. In the state of mindfulness, practitioners are alert, focused, and attentive to the very conditions of being human. They're not mindless, idle, or any more vulnerable than, and perhaps less so than, the average hard-at-work human being. It is an act of self-compassion, self-awareness, and a journey into being more fully you. If this video has been helpful to you and you would like to join me, subscribe to my channel and click the notification button so you can be alerted when I post new videos, including guided mindfulness meditations. I wish you joy, loving kindness, compassion, and well-being. Namaste.